Hello everyone, I'm Teresa and today I'm going to talk about the first card of the Major Arcana, the Fool. Welcome back for another video of the Tarot series. Today we are going to observe and learn how to read the card 0, the Fool, from the Major Arcana. I'm not just going to dump a list of meanings and keywords and all of that, but I'm going to help you to look into the card and look into its not so hidden meanings. Okay, to start learning the cards, the method I found worked best for me was the intuitive reading of the card. I used to read a lot about each card, I used to take a lot of notes, made lists, but some things just wouldn't stay in my memory, and sometimes that made me feel discouraged. When one is starting to learn tarot, it's common practice to create a small list with the cards and associated keywords and meanings. There are tons of cheat sheets online, and these are usually super simplified versions of the cards' true meanings, and they can lead to the beginner reader to despair for not being able to memorize them all. While I have done it before, I don't think making lists is the best practice unless it is for a quick reminder. It creates a great pressure just to memorize keywords, and it can create a limited vision of the card's meanings, which can stop us from exploring secondary or deeper meanings. The best way I found to learn each card was to study them individually. Not memorize them, but understand them. Understand the symbology behind each drawing, how the colors, the patterns, the hidden symbols talk to us. Does the card have a clear blue sky or a sky filled with dark clouds? What's the character holding? What is he or she doing? There are many things you can read in each card that helps you and guides you to a better understanding depending on the type of reading you are doing. Remember that what I'm sharing today, like in all of my videos, it's from my point of view, influenced by my life experiences and the sources I used to study and to learn. So you may not agree with some parts, and that is perfectly fine. I'm not sharing an absolute truth, so take the knowledge that fits you and leave what doesn't make sense to you. That being said, let's get into the card. The first card of the Major Arcana is the Fool, numbered with 0. If you read a bit about numerology, you will quickly see how fitting the 0 is for this card. 0 is a circle, there is no beginning and no end, so all is infinite. Every number multiplied by 0 will always be 0. So you could say 0 can be inclusive of every number, thus being both the symbol of nothingness and wholeness, bringing freedom from any limitations on the physical and material world. 0 represents unlimited potential and choice. To sum it up, the Fool is a card about new beginnings, purity, innocence, clear conscience, and spontaneity. These are the basic aspects or keywords associated with this card. But by looking at the card, we can analyze a lot of elements that put together create a story. The Fool walks by the edge of a cliff with his chin lifted up, with a seemingly worry-free face. He is well dressed with fancy clothing, a red feather on his head. He carries a stick with a bag of his possessions, and this bag carries the symbol of an eagle. And in his other hand, he has a flower that seems to be a white rose. The sun is shining, the sky is bright yellow, the snowy mountains on the background almost seem to glisten. You can see that a dog is jumping at his feet. Now that you have observed these details, we can start to learn their meanings. The Fool appears to be a young man, and you can quickly see he is somewhat careless by being next to such a dangerous cliff. He is walking positively and with confidence into a new adventure, but he's unaware or not worried with the dangers ahead. He can either fall down or be successful and avoid or overcome this cliff. On his left hand, he holds a single white rose, and white roses often represent innocence, purity, and youth. This is a representation of the naivete of the fool. The dog at its feet, seemingly trying to warn him of the dangers, represents protection and loyalty that helps the fool to move forward, but also the connections of the forces of nature with the human, the animal side we all have inside. It can also represent a trusted companion or friend trying to warn him about the danger ahead but being ignored. The fancy clothing can represent both vanity and creativity. The sun shining represents power, energy, and clarity, while the sky is a strong yellow. Yellow is a color that is associated with the sun, but is also associated with creativity and clarity. This power isn't yet physical. It hasn't been brought to the realm of what's palpable, so the fool has power but hasn't created anything with it just yet. The mountains behind them are a symbol of the challenges to overcome, but by being far away in the background, they are challenges that will show somewhere along the future, along his journey. If you take the bag in consideration, you'll see that even though the fool is venturing into something new, he keeps his past with him, his possessions, meaning the lessons he once learned will never leave him, but they will not stop him either. The past shouldn't limit the future, for the past is already gone and there is nothing you can do about it, but you can take the lessons of the past to build a better future. This bag also has an eagle printed on it, and the eagle is a symbol of freedom, of knowledge, seeking higher truths, and even listening to your own intuition. This card is a good representation of the archetype of the trickster. The trickster is a character who disregards the rules of society with intelligence and defiance, whose confidence and abilities allow him to get away with his rebellious actions. Sometimes they are good-hearted and they have pure intentions, but some are just vain and have no worries with who their actions will hurt. Tricksters bring chaos to an orderly state by bending the rules, or just purely going against them. You can see examples of this archetype on several stories and myths. Robin Hood that tricks and steals from the rich to help the poor, having good intentions at heart, but still sabotaging authority. Loki is a worthy mention too, since it is a famous figure. He is a Norse god who is constantly up to no good, creating havoc wherever he goes. Unlike Robin Hood, Loki's actions can have a more negative consequences, breaking other gods' plans and forcing them to change, creating new opportunities. For a more modern example, you can observe the Weasley twins of Harry Potter. They constantly break the rules and play pranks and end up bringing havoc to the school. Now, before I stray away from the point of the video, take in consideration this information. Take all the information you've gathered by analyzing the card of the Fool and try to put the pieces together to understand the story it is telling you. The meaning of the card can and will depend on the question made for the reading and where the card is located on a spread. Learning to understand the exact meaning will take a bit of practice, so if you can, do pretend readings. Create a sort of an imaginary friend for a while and do a reading so you can practice. Observe how the cards can interact with each other, how they influence each other, and write it down. Keeping a journal of readings will help you a lot, and the more you practice, the easier it will be for you to decipher the cards and to create deeper and more meaningful readings. Now to the meanings. The meaning upright. On reading, this card can be an indicator of new beginnings, new adventures, new paths in your life or the querent's life. This new beginning is strongly influenced by a spiritual meaning, a spiritual force or intention. This new adventure may need you to take a leap of faith and a considerable dosage of recklessly trusting your intuition. This can be a call to let go of fear and have the courage to take a risk. The reward is unknown, but it's worth taking the step to find out. It's time to trust this new path. Take the lessons of the childish fool and be more carefree. Allow yourself to be amazed and intrigued with life. Be like a child and see wonder in the small things. This card can also represent that there is a choice or a decision to be taken. And since this is a card from the Major Arcana, the decision will have a grand impact in your life. Unlike the Fool and the Cliff, this decision can bring either success by overcoming the cliff or a downfall, falling down from the cliff. Everything I have mentioned so far is applied to the upright position of the card. But what if the card is drawn reversed? Some people don't do readings with reversed cards for many reasons, and it's their choice to do so. If you feel too overwhelmed with learning the upright and the reversed meanings at the same time, stick with only the upright meanings until you are comfortable enough reading them, and then start to add the reversals to the mix. Having a card drawn in its reversed position isn't exactly a bad thing. It will also depend on the method you choose to read the card. Some methods turn the meaning upside down. Others see the reversed as a blockage of the card's meaning, or that the energy of the card is weak, with little influence, or even that the energy of this card is fading. So it's easy to be confused when studying reversed meanings and finding several different interpretations. You are left wondering which one is true. But worry not. As you develop your own connection with the deck, you will learn that intuition goes a long, long way into these readings, and that meanings will always be somewhat adapted to the reading itself. You'll learn to take into consideration the context of the spread and the question at hand, and feel what fits best. Take the guidelines and expand them with your own wisdom. When upright, the Fool is innocent, naive, and a free spirit, but reversed, this innocence can turn into foolishness, meaning the person seeking this reading can be having reckless actions with disregard for the consequences. Being naive or carefree without using intelligence can bring up a selfish and vain side. One must seek wisdom, knowledge, and learn to grow up to face certain situations in life in order to thrive. It can ultimately mean that the Fool, or in this case the person you are doing the reading for, hasn't fallen off the cliff yet, but if the same course of actions keep going, keep happening, it will end up falling down. So a step back or a change of course may be a wise choice. Depending where it's located on the spread, this can also be a warning that the inquirer is blocking its own instincts. Where the upright Fool is fearless, the reversal can be too fearful and avoid moving forward. As you see, there is more than one way to read this card, and ultimately it will depend on yourself and what meaning you see fit to the reading in question. The more you practice, the clearer the message will be. This is all I have for you today. I hope this was a helpful video. Before you leave, remember to leave me a thumbs up, so I know you enjoyed my work and that I should keep doing these videos. Feel free to leave a comment sharing your thoughts about this card, and subscribe to the channel so you are updated when new videos are up. As always, my social media links are on the description, so you can go and see my photography and other projects. I'll see you on the next video for another card. Bye!